Most leaders want to build success, but great leaders build successors. You can build the dream, the systems, and the brand, but if it ends with you, it's not legacy, it's dependency. Real leadership reproduces itself. We started our restaurant during 2020, and it was a very interesting thing to watch happen. We had a very popular restaurant in a city of awesome customers that wanted to support us, and our restaurant grew. It's the most amazing thing looking back because I watched all these restaurants around me just closing their doors, and we kept getting busier and we kept having to hire more people. And I was standing in my kitchen and watching all of these people that are working and making amazing food and making all this stuff happen. And I realized there was a point where we had so many tickets on the line, we couldn't do any more work. And I told my husband, we have this one 5-foot grill. We can only cook so many burgers at a time and make so many sandwiches. And we only have this amount of fryers and we can only do so much food at once. Imagine if we had two. And I tried selling him on the idea that, wow, we are so popular. We're so busy right now. Imagine if we had two restaurants and how great and fantastic that would be. And it did take him several years for me to convince him. And really, honestly, he didn't think that I could manage two restaurants by myself. Well, it wasn't really just by myself, but he was concerned about how we would manage two restaurants. And at the time, we didn't have the vision. We didn't have the bigger picture of the possibilities. It wasn't until our general manager at the time came to us and said, hey, I want more. I don't want to stop here. And I believe in what you guys are doing. And I would love to start another restaurant. And we were like, that's when the moment finally became an aha. It was like, oh, you could run that store and I could run this store. But I was even still at that moment, I was still thinking too small. But the truth is that it was the first time that I realized that we could have two 5-foot grills instead of one. Because if I had another leader that was leading, I was leading, all of a sudden I have multiplied myself. And that's what the point is. Leaders don't accidentally multiply, they plan to. So I had the seed that knew that I wanted to franchise. I just didn't know how we were going to get there. And it was really important for us to have someone that we could partner with that was going to continue to build this brand with us. And so for me, it took choosing the people worth investing in and then giving them the training and the voice and the feedback to get there. And that was the coolest thing about our general manager. Of course, it caused a deficit in our South store, and then I spent several years trying to find the right person for this position to be the general manager, which is also really cool because I learned a whole lot of things about people and how to manage them and how to bring leaders along and the qualities that we're looking for in a leader. And when you build those leaders, you're creating something that is bigger than yourself. And so far in all of the training and the podcasts prior, I keep talking about how you have to trust and how you have to empower and you have to encourage and you have to build. And this is so true. There is so much in this that about building other people up and helping them to become the leaders that you need them to be so that you can do more. And really, trying to reproduce yourself isn't really the end goal. The goal is to reproduce the systems and the expectations that you have developed within your company. And doing that, there's always some risk. But really, people are going to learn the most when they are put in charge to lead than when you are the one that's leading them. We have 2 food booths at the Alaska State Fair. It's one of the most popular fairs that you can attend, and we get lots and lots of people that come there. And we're very busy, and it's absolutely worth it for me to go and run these food booths because we do so well at them. And I have to hire a whole new staff. We have, I think, 18 people that work each shift. So we have a day and a night shift. We have 2 food booths. So we have a lot of people that are working. And when I hire them, they have to train very quickly because we're only open for 14 total days. So I can't really go through a whole 2-week training process with people. So I have a system of how I train them. And that is that I teach them their job. And then I tell them they have to, after they've been working for a while, and I have witnessed that they understand the position that they're working in, then I tell them they have to train the next person before they can go home. And it's so incredibly effective to move them from I'm doing the job to now I have to explain to somebody else how to do it. Because what do they say? To teach is to learn it twice. And what it's really doing is it's giving them ownership of that task, the project, the process, the decision making. I'm really just letting them experience the weight and the win in that position. And now I have a general manager that runs our South store as well. So now we have our partner who runs our East store, and we have somebody that's running the South store. And I have taken a step back for the very first time since we opened. So we're going on our 10th year now. I have taken a step back and I am allowing my leaders to lead. And maybe they're not going to lead exactly the same way that I lead. Maybe they're not going to make every single decision that I make, but really, even if they do 80% of what I do, that's still a beat. And Dan Martell says 80% of somebody else doing it is 100% awesome. And my goal, I keep thinking where my goal is, where I want to see is to create success within both companies, to build leaders up so that they are doing the amazing, awesome things and probably doing better than I ever could have done. And it frees me to do the things that I'm good at and the freedom to be able to have the life that I want to have. And when you let go sooner than you think you're ready, that's how you find out if people are really ready. Because I have noticed every single time when a leadership person on our team leaves the company, it allows for this space for someone else to raise their head up and go, hey, I can lead too. Every single time. The first time I ever lost somebody that was one of those essential employees, somebody that made things work really well and that was just fantastic and amazing, I was devastated. I didn't know how I was going to survive without her. And I was heartbroken. And I wanted to celebrate with her because she was pregnant for the first time. But at the same time, I was grieving the loss in my company and how are we going to survive? And the funny thing is, I don't even remember if it was difficult or not, because as soon as she was gone, somebody else said, I'll take over. And when that person left our company, someone else said, I'll take over. And every time we've had leadership move on, which people will move on, the average American, I think, keeps a job for 2 years at this point. For me, every time somebody left, every time somebody went and did something different, it was super cool to see that someone filled the gaps. And my philosophy in our work is that when people leave, when they go to do something different, I want to make sure that I have poured into them everything I possibly can to help them be the better leaders that to be the best quality individual that they are in themselves, so that when they leave, they make the world a better place. That is my goal at the end of the day. I never have it in my mind that every single person is going to stay with us forever, because it's just not reality. The only people that really stay forever are the ones that own the business, right? It's my business, it's not theirs. So why would they? However, I do create the most fantastic environment so that they do want to stay. And that part I'm super grateful for. And so, how do I empower them? How do I make it so that they can be the best possible leaders that they can be? Down to is making sure that we have systemized what works, making sure that they understand this is what works. This is how we do things. This is why we do things. And that's building those systems so that everyone knows this is what we're doing. Because legacy, it isn't just people, it's process. And in process, you're not trying to reproduce chaos, you're trying to reproduce clarity. Because chaos is going to automatically come. But producing the systems so that people know how to and what to do so that they can be the leaders that they are called to be. So document what matters the most: your values, your expectations, your culture. Don't just teach your people what to do, tell them why it matters. Because when your principles are written down, anyone can carry them forward. And then your influence expands beyond presence. So reproducing, that's the moment in your leadership when you go from addition to multiplication. I have a meeting every Wednesday morning with one of my general managers, and the whole point of the entire meeting is for her to come to me with, this is what I did, this is how I handled it, did I make the right decision? And all I'm doing is encouraging and empowering her, and then telling her how I would have handled it if it was something different. The entire meeting is to teach her how to be a better leader so that she's a better leader for her leaders, so that her leaders can then be better leaders for their leaders. It's multiplication. It's not about cloning myself. It's about equipping others to lead in their own way. So this week, I want you to ask yourself this question. Who could step in for me tomorrow if I wasn't here? What knowledge or habits do I need to pass down now before later? And what kind of leader am I reproducing through my example today? Because remember, we are building, we are encouraging, we're training, trusting, empowering, and then we're going to reproduce. Because that's where our leaders' mark doesn't end when they walk away.